All right. Welcome, everyone. We're back for the second match of today. So we got Prismatic Sistas versus today's sponsors. Due to the delays, I wasn't able to do a proper pregame pregame analysis because I didn't know when they were going to start. So it mostly just came down to when they started. We got today's sponsor bringing Magirna, Tornadus, Riaboom, Primarina, Makuhita, Hariyama, not Makuhita, and Weird Ear. We got Woke Sisters bringing Groudon, Jumpluff, um, Fluttermane, Salamence, Mienshao, and Victini. And was slightly expecting a Weezing to show up for today's sponsors, as it can stop the sun from getting set up. Tailwind, however, is now up for the Sistas. Oh, not for the Sistas, for today's sponsor. And Skillshare, the Magirna. Luckily, avoiding the Swagger, which would have given it, which would have confused it and made it not work as well. And then Skillshare used Grass Knot, which only took a quarter of Groudon's health because it Terrified. But now, actually probably resist all of Magirna's moves at this point. So today's sponsor is going to have a bit of a tricky time figuring out how to work around this Groudon. But now that they got Tailwind up, hopefully that Tornadus can do some work offensively. We'll see here on turn 2 what goes down. However, I do believe that in the matches, Prismatic Sisters does have the advantage based off team composition. They got the pairing of Fluttermane with Groudon to activate that photosynthesis for probably a special attack boost. And today's sponsors don't have much to handle that Groudon, because the sun will weaken any water type moves from Primarina. Oh, Snowscape! Snowscape coming in from the Tornadus as it goes down. So Soul Heart apparently activates whenever anything dies. I thought it was just when you got a kill. Reboom coming in with Grassy Surge. Now the good news is today's sponsor still has Tailwind up, so they have the speed advantage. They can take out this Groudon and then work on this Jumpluff. But if Sistas takes Groudon out right now, they can bring it in later to set up the sun. They could also just have Sunny Day on this Jumpluff. We'll see what goes on. But today's sponsors should focus on getting the Groudon out of there. Ooh, and Memento on the Primarina that just came in is unfortunate. But that does mean Jumpluff's off the board, so it can't bring in a Sunny Day. Groudon's still out there, not allowing the sun to come back out. Not sure if it will come back out when snow ends. But if anything, this Tornadus might have had a weather extender for the ice. Yeah, the icy rock to extend. So it'll last 6 turns instead of the normal 5. Now Victini coming in, this thing could have Bolt Strike to deal with the Primarina. However, we do got to remember this team does still have Tailwind for this turn, so they will go first. However, the Primarina will not be able to take out that Victini. And with 2 fire types on the board, best bet would be to try to take out this Groudon. We'll see what today's sponsors do, but so far it's 1-1 in terms of deaths. We know what today's sponsors has in the back. Do not know what Sistas has in the back for their 4th Pokemon. Ooh, crit Heat Crash on the Riaboom. And Final Gambit on the Primarina. Bringing this to a 2v1 against the Fairy Terra'd Magearna. Now, I do not think this Groudon can kill it in one shot, but the Flutter Mane actually using booster energy with a speed boost. Oh, and they have Tailwind up. When did they get Tailwind? Ah, it was turn 2. I missed it. So getting their Tailwind out of the way, but it's not going to matter much because this Magearna is just going to die on the next turn. Yep, and that is game 1, going to Prismatic Sistas. Alright, game 2. Now that I have a chance to actually look. So we got Magearna with the Terra Fairy, the Groudon with the Terra Fire, Tornadus with Terra Fire, Primarina with Terra Grass, Hariyama with Terra Ice, and Weirdeer with Terra Water, and Riaboom keeps its normal Terra. Victini keeping its normal Terra of Fire, Salamence its normal Terra of Dragon. Fluttermane has a Steel Terra, Jumpluff with a Dark Terra, and Mienshao with a Poison Terra. Now the question here is Prismatic Sistas going to start off with the same 2 Mons in Groudon and Jumpluff? And will today's sponsors try to switch up their start to counteract a possible same 2 Mons from the Sistas? So, all in all, let's look at the power rankings real quick. So, of these 2 teams, Prismatic Sistas is actually ranked 3rd, so they're performing as expected. Today's sponsor is ranked 7th. Now, today's sponsors will be having a match scheduled next week against Guns T and Bad Decisions, the team who beat the number 4 ranked team in Island of Misfit Tours, or Misfit Toys, sorry, excuse me, and actually who themselves are ranked 12th. So Guns Team Bad Decisions, ranked 12th, managed to beat the number 4 ranked team in power rankings. Obviously, not number 4 overall, but so we got Weirdeer coming out with the Intimidate more than likely. Mienshao, Inner Focus from Mienshao, blocking the attack drop. But Victini losing his attack, how we know that is a final gambit Victini, so it's probably max HP to deal as much damage as possible, and it could just go straight on this Magearna. We'll see what today's sponsors decide to do, because predicting the final gambit would probably be smart, but they also have something else that they could do on the Sistas side to fake out with the final gambit and deal some excess damage. So unfortunately, these battles do take a bit of time, since timer is not on for most of these battles, unless both teams want it on. So teams can take their time making decisions and stuff. But hopefully we will see a U-turn coming in here from the Mienshao onto this Weirdier, to then possibly switch out to the Groudon to deal with this Magearna. Protect coming in from Magearna, fake out on the Weirdier, V-create on the Magearna. So now we'll see how today's sponsors responds in the news that V-create has now been revealed, and Mienshao can now just U-turn on this Weirdier, dealing a lot of damage. This Magearna can also floor cannon the Mienshao. Still waiting on moves from either team. Got Close Combat coming in on the Weirdier, Final Gambit on Primarina, and Trick. Ooh, so the Mienshao will actually go last. And today's sponsor now knows that Mienshao has a Focus Sash on it. So this Magearna can come in and actually one-shot the Mienshao, or at least deal heavy damage to whatever switches in. And the Weirdier, honestly, I would switch him out and save Intimidate to come back in. But this Groudon could also Precipice Blade the Magearna and kill it. So Tornado's coming in. Fire type on that. Protect on the Magearna. Wide Guard on him. Heat Crash on the Magearna. and no one took a single bit of damage. So Tornadoes in now can set up Tailwind for this Magearna to floor can. And the Groudon will most likely just go for a Heat Crash again on Magearna. See how today's sponsor. So the same Terra came out for this match on the Groudon. Weird Ear coming in. Attack drop on the Groudon. Sky drop on the Mienshao so it can't use Wide Guard this turn. Meaning the Tornadus will drop it. The Mienshao is forced to use an attacking move, which means the Magearna can attack it for free. And the Mienshao also cannot get switched out, so it's getting attacked. However, I believe this will be the Terra coming out on the Magearna, so it does not die to Heat Crash. Let's see what today's sponsors do. They're down 2 Pokemon, so they need to get at least 1 kill to make this a 2v2. Because if it comes back to a 2v1, it will be game over pretty much. I don't think they have any sort of crazy strategy like Javi did in the first match of the season with Alolan Muck single-handedly PP stalling out Cobalion and winning the game. Well, the match, but they are winning the round, lost the match though. I'm wondering if the last Pokemon in the back is again going to be that Flutter Mane to pair with the Sun and get that speed boost again. It doesn't even need the Sun because it's holding the booster energy. So there goes the Mienshao. It's dead. Giving the special attack boost to... Ooh, crit, but it does not do enough. And I think this Salamence will have something to kill this Magearna with. Unless the Tornadus grabs it. If the Tornadus grabs it with Skydrop, the Magearna can possibly kill with Floor Cannon. So the question here is, well, actually, if he does have Protect, I believe, on that. Yes, he has Protect on the Groudon, meaning he could protect this turn. Going Floor Cannon, because Tailwind makes it faster, giving it Soul Heart. Heat Crash comes in, though, And now it's a 1v1 Groudon versus Tornadus. And today's sponsor pulls out the win in this round. So we will be going to a game 3. Now, that was a very risky move because if today's sponsors had missed that Bleak Wind Storm, the Groudon in exchange would have dealt heavy damage. So let's see if we get similar starts from both teams. So Tornadus and Magearna start. So back to start on both sides from match 1, from round 1. And we have the Jumpluff coming out that can set up Tailwind. Now we do know this Jumpluff has Tailwind, Memento, and Swagger. So it could Memento right off the bat to hinder the Magearna, but doing it on the first turn probably would be risky. So here comes the Weird Ear, dropping the attack of both. Snowscape taking rid of the Sun. Jumpluff missing Swagger again. And the Rock Slide coming in, hitting both Mons for decent damage. Now this one, I believe, this Tornadus, if it can, should grab this Jumpluff into Skydrop, so it cannot Memento. There we go. Because that will kill the Jumpluff. Now, this Weird Ear is trying to trick its Lagging Tail onto the Groudon. So he may switch out the Groudon, give it the Lagging Tail to something else, and then come back in to bring the Sun back out. So flinch on the Weird Deer. Skydrop didn't work on Jumpluff. Skydrop, Generation 8 and onwards. Targets cannot be... Okay, that's not very helpful. Skydrop. Sky Drop will not work on flying types. Okay. So it's mostly just to get the jump bluff out of the way, though. That Magearna is going to take heavy damage from Precipice Blades, but manages to survive from Shuckaberry. Let me go back to the last turn just to see what happened. So that was the flinch that we saw, and then Primarina came out, switched into Magearna. Then, okay, so that was just all that happened. So this one is heavily favoring the Sistas right now. Memento on Primarina. Precipice Blades coming in. Resisted since Primarina. Terran. Icy Wind coming out to drop the speed. However, it is now Magearna and Primarina. And that Primarina will take a lot of damage from the Sluttermane, and the Magearna, well, that also works. But yeah, that is going to be game. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got a two games to one victory for the Prismatic Sistas, pulling up the victory as expected. So, thank you for joining me, and we got two more matches on the books for Friday. Have a great night. See ya.